The monsters are always coming, so look behind you. That's what we were all indoctrinated with as children, born into a world where humans have always struggled to survive. They have always been. We have always fought to keep them at bay. The three heroines of our story, Fee, I, and One, were born to do just that. Along with many other girls, they were taught and trained young to consume that responsibility and build themselves to serve their kingdom as warriors. Fee, I, and One were good girls, good warriors. They did what they were told without question, as did everyone else. There are no real choices to be had, and the future of humanity is your responsibility. One day, Fee, I, and One were ordered to the king's castle. Fee was excited, honored to be called upon. I was curious to finally see outside the walls of the training structure. One hid her worry. She heard whispers that more people were disappearing, closer and closer to the kingdom walls. They all held their breath as the doors that never opened. Colors washed in, a vibrancy, but that was all cut through by a huge explosion.
To the castle,
Yelled their guide. They ran. Finally, in the castle, the girls were bombarded by cloaked men, sorcerers, and clerics. They hurried the girls into a room where the king sat. He stood up and walked over to the girls as the cloaked men encircled them. The monsters are here. It is up to you. You three will save us. Turn them now! Before the girls could react, they were chained together and on the floor, immobilized by magic. The sorcerers and the king forced everything they had into these girls. Their strengths, their beliefs, their desires, their needs, everything they could to forge the girls into who they needed them to be. But something went wrong. When the men were done, the girls stayed sleeping on the floor. They wouldn't wake up, not even when the doors to the castle came crashing down. The king ordered the girls to be taken out of the kingdom and hidden, hoping that they would wake soon and come back. The girls were carried out by the clerics and rushed into the woods towards the river. They were being chased, and the clerics were being picked off one by one until only one remained. In a panic, he crashed into the river, hoping the monsters would go for the girls. He began to swim away, looking back to see the three sleeping bodies carried away by the water. He swam to shore in shame, but that shame cut short by something sharp impaling his chest. So alone the girls floated down the river, through the woods, until they miraculously washed ashore. They slumbered for 10 weeks, only to wake up and see the disorder they had become. didn't want to fight. She didn't want to go back to that prison that only made her subservient and now broken. But her sisters, they would go with or without her, and they would probably die. I would probably die if she went with them, but could she live without them? She didn't know, so she stayed. Fee was so glad that I finally relented. They were born to be warriors, chosen to be saviors. Fee trusted no one else but her sisters to complete this endeavor. Humanity had to be saved. One felt like she could finally breathe. They were staying together, and they needed each other now more than ever. They were all messed up. Fee's head, I's hands, one's chest. How could they possibly save the world? How could they possibly survive fighting monsters without each other? They knew they were different now, and they knew something had went wrong with the sorcerers and king's magics. All they could do was prepare as well as they could and get ready to fight the monsters they were born and bred to fight. It was time to become saviors. Here they were, ready to take back their kingdom from the evil monsters they've been groomed to fight their whole lives. They found their way home using the stars, and as they came closer, they saw smoke and smelled cooking meat. The saviors stopped to make a plan, but then they heard laughter. Laughter they recognized. Then voices they recognized. One's eyes widened as she ran towards the village, calling for her sisters to follow. I and Fee protested, but eventually pursued her. They tried to catch up, but one ran unencumbered. They followed one straight into the village to find her standing still at a small home's doorway. They hurried to one and saw what she saw. The girls they grew up with. Some of them were missing body parts. Most of them were injured. Fee broke the silence. Where are the monsters? We are here to save you. It's our turn to fight. The tired warriors looked around at each other, and then one finally stepped towards them. She embraced the three sisters, stepped back, and said, "There are no monsters. There were never any monsters. They were just kings, fools fighting for more land and more power." I and one froze, while Fee asked the hurt warriors to explain. She didn't believe them. She started yelling and then begging them to tell her where the monsters were. The hurt warriors just watched Fee rage and rage until Ai's yells startled Fee into silence. Ai did not hold back as she blamed Fee for everything, telling Fee she was a brainwashed, selfish idiot for believing they were actually supposed to be saviors. One moved to keep the peace, but Ai was not having it. She blamed One as well for guilting her into coming back, for taking away her freedom. I, enraged by Fee's silence, started to shake and shove her. One pleaded with Ai to stop. It's over now. It's over. Let her be, One cried. She looked towards the other warriors for help, but they were retreating, wide-eyed. Help, One cried. Then one warrior, a younger girl, shook her bandaged head, pointed and said, "It's not over. Look behind you."